Hey guys, and guess what? I own a park now. Ta-da! I know, that's pretty cool, right? This is great. I get to buy all the coasters I always wanted. Like, the first day was go to buy Intamin Coaster Day, the next day I bought 2 B&M Hypers, the next day I bought a B&M Invert, the next day I bought a B&M I'm broke now. Yeah, I can't find any credit cards at my house, so it looks like I'll have to go to the bank and ask them for some money.
I'm sorry, the bank won't give you any money for your llama farm. Yes?
Mr. Flanderson, someone here named Micah is here to see you.
Alright, send him in.
Oh, hey! How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good! I'm broke.
Oh, so that's why you're here.
Yes, I need your help. According to my wallet, government, and bank, I have no money.
You know, that's probably the problem, because you bought a Intamin Hyper and a B&M Hyper.
You can't have one without the other.
I'm also seeing a big problem with your taxes.
I don't pay taxes.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Look, all I need is some money to help grow my park.
How are you gonna do that? I mean, you really are broke.
Can I have a loan?
Who the heck are you?
Yeah, the bank wasn't really a huge fan of me, but I did have an agreement with the bank. Yeah, do you guys by chance accept war bonds?
Look, we'll give you a small loan, but for now, just buy budget coasters.
Thank you. You won't regret this. I'm rich!
Yeah, I'm gonna regret that.
Alright, so all I need to do now is buy some budget coasters, so where do I start? I'm screwed. Alright, so you own a park, and you want to boost up some attendance. So that means that you probably should get a new ride, but you don't want to get a new flat ride, you want a new roller coaster. But you may say, come on man, look, I have crippling debt, I can't just build a new roller coaster. And that, my friend, is why budget coasters exist. A budget coaster is simply a roller coaster that doesn't cost that much money and is usually tailored towards small parks or bigger parks looking for a nice attraction, but at a fraction of the cost. Budget coasters are a pretty good option, especially for parks looking for a really good attraction, but not as expensive as a B&M. Like seriously, the price of a B&M Hyper is holy crap! But don't worry, there's plenty of budget coasters out there that parks can all decide to buy. And on this video, we're gonna go through some budget coasters from the ones that are really good all the way to the ones that are just horrible. So with that said, let's start with the bottom of the barrel. These budget coasters are simply known as... If you can't afford a new coaster, then how about you buy a used coaster? Easier said than done. You see, parks around the world always have a roller coaster that is used that the park's either auctioning off or just selling. And it's kind of hard because these coasters kind of have to be in good condition in order for it to be a good buy. Like, a lot of used roller coasters are just crappy and they don't usually last that long, so parks don't really want to buy them, so those coasters usually go to the scrapyard. But sometimes used roller coasters can be actually a really good deal. For instance, Dominator at King's Dominion. And yes, I know this Florida roller coaster was previously at Jago Lake until Cedar Fair bought the park and shipped it to King's Dominion. But since Cedar Fair technically bought Jago Lake, they also technically bought Dominator. I don't know if that works or not, but Dominator is still technically a used roller coaster that Cedar Fair bought. And it's a great ride. I mean, I haven't been on it yet, so I can't say for sure, but I've heard some amazing things about it. So Dominator is actually a really good example of a used roller coaster being a really good deal. This is called relocated rides, and like Dominator, it can be really good, but other times it can be really bad. For instance, Six Flags America. I kind of feel bad for Six Flags America because pretty much all they get is hand-me-downs, which is kind of sad because this park deserves way much more than that. But Six Flags America has an example of a relocated ride. I'm talking about Firebird/Apocalypse at this park. And When it was called Apocalypse, it was a beat-up stand-up coaster, and it came from Six Flags Great America in Illinois. And they shipped it to Six Flags America because Six Flags hates Six Flags America for some reason, because this roller coaster I've heard some pretty negative things about. Even though it is a floorless coaster now, it's still basically the same roller coaster, except this time you're sitting down. So, I don't know about this one. In my opinion, they should just scrapped it and gave Six Flags America a better roller coaster, but this is Six Flags we're talking about, so that's not gonna happen. Oh, and speaking of Six Flags, I find it kind of annoying that Six Flags New England has a boomerang, but then they relocated a giant boomerang to this park, even though they already had a boomerang.
You can't have one without the other.
To be fair, pretty much every Six Flags park has a boomerang, so even if they shipped it to a different Six Flags park, they would still have the same problem. Anyways, moving on to the next category of budget roller coasters. This one is called prototype roller coasters. And prototype roller coasters are basically roller coasters that are test prototype models, you know. One example of this is Oblivion at Alton Towers in England. This is a prototype B&M dive coaster, and it was pretty cheap from what I heard, especially for a B&M. And that's because it's a prototype, and the one problem with prototypes is prototypes usually break down before the posters that precede it usually do. For instance, Volcano the Blast coaster at King's Dominion was a prototype roller coaster, and that was a maintenance nightmare, and it eventually led to the coaster's downfall a couple years ago. So yeah, prototypes, you know, they can be a gamble, especially for ones like Intamin and other ones that don't really have a good history of reliability. But sometimes it can be a really cool idea and they can show off to the public a new roller coaster concept. For instance, going back to Oblivion, that was the first ever dive coaster that B&M made, and it showed that dive coasters can be a lot of fun, even though they have those stupid rest restraints nowadays. Ugh. But anyways, let's move on to the next category, shall we? Let's talk about cloned roller coasters. And for some reason in the coaster industry, cloned roller coasters get a bad rap, but think about it. It's cheaper to produce, it's cheaper for the park, and cloned rides can be so much fun. Valley Fair has a cloned ride, and that is the Intimate Impulse. However, this one has a hold brake, making it a little more unique than the others. But other parks basically have the same roller coaster, but they're good roller coasters, like Batman the Ride, a very nice, compact, intense B&M invert that you can find pretty much at a lot of Six Flags parks, and even some other parks too. And SNS 40 free spins, holy crap, those look fun. I can't wait to ride one of those, hopefully next year because one's going to Adventureland, and I might go there next year just to ride that. But there's also such thing as a bad cloned ride. For instance, Vekoma boomerangs, those don't look that good. Same with SLCs. I mean, yeah, they're cost effective, but they're just not that great roller coasters, and a lot of them are disappearing because the maintenance is not that great either. So there is such thing as a bad cloned ride, but for the most part, I think cloned rides are pretty good. I mean, look at the Raptor models, those look amazing. And finally, on to the last category, and that is just budget coasters. I mean, budget coasters like the Raptor and the SNS 40 free spin, those are pretty cost effective, and a park can afford those pretty much any time. There's a 40 free spin being built at Adventureland and King's Dominion all in 1 year, and there's also a Raptor model being built in South Dakota, so that kind of shows that budget coasters like these are very, very great for parks, especially if they're smaller ones. It provides a great thrill in a small package at a small price, and that's the beauty of budget roller coasters. Yes, they're not record breakers or anything super special, but for the park they're going to, it can be a really good fit. Alright, so I bought a used Vekoma boomerang, and let's see how the park responded. I declare bankruptcy!